GM friends, and welcome to Zazoo Me. I'm Sheri Barbera, and today we are talking about the top traits and properties for your NFT collection. And it's super important as a creator to understand what a trait is versus a property, because a lot of times people just use those words interchangeably, especially on the marketplaces. They're used differently on each marketplace, it seems. When you do a generative NFT collection, you need a lot of different traits, also known as rarities, and those are traits. But the main things that you create are what are called properties. And other marketplaces than OpenSea, which I'm usually talking about OpenSea, also call them attributes. So that is sort of an interchangeable thing, properties or attributes. And that's something like a background or clothing or eyes, face, hair, things like that. That is what is known as a property as opposed to a trait. You need a lot of traits, not necessarily properties. Those are the main things, but you need a lot of traits to create 10,000 unique characters that each one of them look like something super special. In the marketplace, the word for traits might be properties, might be attributes, might be traits. So many people use the word traits as though that were everything, but it's truly not. And I don't want you to be confused when you go to a marketplace and understand this. Properties on OpenSea are the main basic category. Properties, that's something like eyes or hair or a body. Traits are what those eyes might look like. So it might be brown eyes, or it might be blinking eyes, or it might be bored eyes, something like that. That is what is called a trait. However, on Nifty Gateway, properties are just called traits. On Mintable, they're called attributes and traits. So see how confusing this can be? This is why people often don't really understand when someone's saying a property, what are they talking about? And this is why I want you to be crystal clear about the difference between properties, attributes, traits, and rarity. Because look on Rarible, they call properties, the main categories, properties, but then they call traits rarity. And again, super confusing if you don't know what you're looking for. On LooksRare, everything is a property. They don't even differentiate between properties and traits, although the background here is a property and the color's blue, and that's the trait. And this way you understand what it is that I'm going to be talking to you about today when it comes to traits and properties. Are there questions about that? I'm going to pop over to Sal, and just because that is something that we haven't discussed a lot, properties and traits, is it crystal clear now, or is it even more confusing? Because there are different terminologies within the marketplaces for properties, which some call attributes, traits, which some call rarity.
Well, the way you described it and the way I understood it was traits are a description of the property. It could be that.
I think that's a good way to clarify it, because the property is the main thing. Is it a background? Is it a body shape? Is it a head? Is it a hat? What is it?
And then different description.
What is the description of that? And that is a good way to put it. So thank you for that. Okay, let's get back to it.
You're welcome. Wait.
Thank you for that. How many properties, common properties and uncommon properties in a collection? Well, based on the top 50 NFT collections on OpenSea, how many NFT properties should be in your NFT collection? 7. No less than 7, because the average 88% had 7 properties. And when I am talking about properties, I'm talking about the main category. I'm talking about hair, for example, or hats, for example, or faces, or even eyes. And those are main properties. Common properties, 7 of them, are a background, a body, a head, eyes, mouth, clothes, accessories. Those are the 7 top common main properties in a collection. Examples would be of a background, solid colors, gradients, patterns, or a location, meaning something behind you, like, for example, artwork. Examples of the most common accessories might be earrings, hats, cigarettes, or bubblegum. Those are very common accessories now. Examples of the most common eyes: bored, sleepy, closed, sad. Those are examples of descriptions of eyes. Most common hats: beanies, cowboy hats, halos, and baseball caps. Those are the most common. And then what do collectors care about? Because that's who you really want, are people who are collecting NFTs to buy into your collection. Well, they want rarities. They want valuable NFTs that have more rare traits than others. So you do definitely want to be sure that when you are creating your collection, you're including a good amount of common traits, but also a nice amount of rare traits, and then some super rare traits where you may be having one of ones for collectors, because you want collectors to collect your NFTs. And for example, this is ranked #1 in Azuki, the collection Azuki. And that's because with the traits, they're super rare. And that's why. And that's why people will want to collect those and pay more for them. So what are 7 uncommon properties? Multiple body shapes starts with #1. And we recently saw that with Goblin Town NFT collection, where they had so many different body shapes that when you looked at the overall collection, the whole collection looked unique. And yet it's not, right? It's a generative collection. So multiple body shapes is huge. Then just the left eye looking different from the right eye. This is something that's very uncommon and new in properties for NFT collections today. This could change within a month or 2 months. Everything changes. Left-hand accessories, right-hand accessories. And what I mean by that is someone holding something in their right hand. And there are collections now that are just showing right-hand accessories. Something very different. Tattoos, where there might be tattoos on a face, on a neck, on a shoulder, or if it's in a hand or something like that. And piercings. That is also something that's completely new and uncommon in properties. So are there any questions about that? I'm going to pop over to us. Real quickly, anything about that? Common properties, these are your basic main categories, and uncommon properties.
So common properties, are they the most popular? Is that what you mean by that?
It's not that they're necessarily the most popular, it's that
Most
they are the
widely used?
most readily used. They are most commonly used across NFT collections. For example, the word background. Almost every single NFT collection has some kind of background. And then body. Body is very common because bodies change. So a body might be blue, red, pink, or it might be something completely different. Like in the Goblins, there were very descriptive bodies that were a lot of fun. So that could be different. And then head or eyes or something like that. These are main basic things that many, many collections have. And that is what a property is on OpenSea, but also an attribute if you're on a different marketplace. So you want to look and see what is your marketplace calling things if you're creating a collection for a specific marketplace that isn't OpenSea, which is what I talk about the most. You want to know what are they calling things, because when you're creating your generative collection in a software program, it's important what you name things. It's really important. It's also important to understand upper lower case because it is case sensitive. Okay,
Right.
I'm going back to what is next. How many traits should you have in your generative collection? And what are the most common traits and what are uncommon traits right now on all of the marketplaces? Well, the ideal number of traits actually depends upon the size of your NFT collection. Are you doing a full 10K collection, or are you doing a smaller one like 3,000 or 6,000? And it's important for you to know because this is based on a 10K collection, and minimum would be 150 traits across all of the properties. If you have 7 properties, then you want to break that out into your properties, having each one having a certain amount of traits within each of those. What are 7 common NFT traits? This is a huge one right now, is blowing a bubble with bubble gum, or smoking. That is a whole nother one, which I don't get at all, but that's a huge, smoking one is huge. Bored eyes, and that's from Bored Ape Yacht Club, a solid color background. That's just so common. I mean, you see that in almost every single collection you look at. Hoop earrings, it's funny, but when you look at accessories, hoop earrings are a great big common accessory. Tongue out, that is huge. I even have that on the, I'm showing that to you right at the beginning of this video, because that is something that a lot of collections are using. And then beanies. Beanies have become pretty common under hats as a trait. Now, what are 7 super uncommon traits that make something a lot more interesting? Because people have seen all of these things over and over again. So you want to start to think about, how can you be unique? Wacky body shapes. That is something that is completely new and different. Goblin Town did that phenomenally well. And even there's a collection called Goblin Girls now, and they are copying Goblin Town basically. Off-topic, beard. So if there's a beard, instead of it just being what color is the hair or what shape is the beard, people are doing octopus beards, and they're doing like all kinds of funny things for beards, not normal head shapes. That might be a head in the shape of an animal on a person's body, or it could be something as bizarre as a fork. I mean, this is, think outside the box. These are not typical things for a head. 3D backgrounds, that is something that is not common and is being used more today. Animated backgrounds, and even animated NFTs altogether, where even the person itself or the character itself or whatever it is, it might be an animal, is animated as well. That is not common. This is an uncommon trait right now. Floating objects. So it could be something that's just floating right next to whatever the character is. So it could be a bird, it could be a clock, it could be anything that's just floating right next to them. Also sitting on shoulders, that's something that's uncommon and new. And finally, weird beanies. So beanies are really popular, but different shaped beanies, like sometimes it could be an animal beanie, or it could be something that you really wouldn't expect to be a beanie. And then rare trait categories. What are those? What are rare trait categories? Obviously, one of one. Super unique. There's only one of them. Literally, when you're in your generative software, you can simply upload everything about that unique one of one, and that is what you post in the part of your collection as a one of one. Special edition. This could be where maybe 10 out of 10,000 of the NFTs have one particular thing that none of the others have. So for example, it could be wind, as though there was wind all around whatever the character is. That is a special edition. Legendary. Legendary is something also really special, really rare, where you are creating something that is just so uncommon and will become a legend within the category, or it's something that is already legendary, like doing Kevin. Last week I talked about how this meme came about because of this character created by Pixelmon called Kevin, and it was so terrible in the artwork that it immediately became a meme all across all different kinds of social media categories. And then Goblin Town literally made a Kevin Goblin. And this is what happens. Something becomes a legend within the NFT space, and that's the kind of thing that you want to hop on that is current for your collection. And then something in the spotlight, something that is just, you want to showcase something really special. This is something that is also really good if you're doing a cause, Or if your NFT collection is about something in particular, for example, if your collection is raising money for something and that is what you want to spotlight, then it'd be great to have something very unique within your NFTs that spotlights specifically what it is that you're raising money for.
Rob Greenspan has a question.
Oh, okay. Let me just finish out rare trait categories.
I think you did. Super rare.
Super rare. That also is when you create something like a one of one, but maybe there are only 5 of them, and it is super rare within your collection. Okay, I'm going to hop over to us. And hello, Rob.
Hello, Rob.
Great to see you. So is there a point where there's too many traits? Do you think there's a number or range that's a sweet spot? The number that 50 different top NFT collections on OpenSea were gone through with a fine-tooth comb to see how many traits was the sweet spot, and it was 150. So 150 traits. And you want to break those out throughout your property. So I'm not saying do 150 different backgrounds, because that's one property. 7 properties were the sweet spot for properties, the basic, the main categories, a background, eyes, hat, hair, things like that. That is a property. Traits are what describe a property. So if you break out 150 traits amongst, let's say, 7 different basic properties, now you can see how you can, for example, eyes, maybe you want to do 25 different eyes. Maybe for hats, you want to do only 10. So it's not that you have to do an equal amount between each one of them. But when you say, could it be too many traits? Yes. There is a new collection that I have looked at quite a bit. It's called Boring One. And I am just going to go back and show you. This little character right here next to me is a Boring One character, that kid with her little tongue sticking out. See, when I said that that's a common trait now with the tongue sticking out, so many collections have that now. I actually don't recommend that you do that because so many collections have that. On the other hand, it's become legendary. So if you want to do that, it's your choice. Boring One, really, really cute collection, but actually when you look at it, there are so many traits that it's almost difficult to look at the complete collection. It's on OpenSea. You might want to just pop over and take a look at it. It's almost difficult to take a look at what that really is. And if you wanted to find out, I'm going to go back to us for a second. If you wanted to find out how many traits Boring One has, go to a site called Rarity Sniper. And I will post that. It's Rarity Sniper. I'm putting that in the chat right now. And go to Rarity Sniper, I think it's .com. And this is where you can type in the name of a collection and find out for yourself how many traits it has.
It breaks it down?
It breaks it down.
Huh.
And that's
nice.
Yeah, that's really, really cool.
That'll help you get an idea.
So great question. Yep. Thank you, Rob, for that. I hope I answered it. If you have more, let me know. Traits are what make properties special. Traits are what make properties special. And here are some examples for you. For example, clothing is a basic property. But within clothing, look at what Azuki did. They have 98 different traits. 98, right? So if you were only doing 150 traits, 98 would be the majority of them, wouldn't it? So that'd be kind of crazy. So look at this. They obviously did a lot more than 150 traits. Light kimono, maroon yukata, blue kimono, green yukata, turquoise kimono. So they have a whole huge selection of clothing within a property. What else? Accessories. They have 36 different accessories, which they call headgear, but that's accessories. They have a baseball cap, a bandana, a yellow kanzashi. They have beanies, right? See, this is where I'm talking about beanies. Backwards cap, baseball caps are another thing that there's quite a lot of. Facial expressions. So when you talk about a property like a mouth, what did they do to break out the traits? Well, they did 30 different traits just in mouth. Relax, close, smirk, not bad, smoking, chuckle, lipstick. look at all the different things that you can do for traits within one property. And for hair, Azuki did 123 different hairstyles. What does that mean? Well, they did a maroon bun, they did brown spiky, they did ponytails, they did long, they did disheveled. Lots and lots of different types of hair so that their individual characters, their individual NFTs would be so unique looking. What about offhand? What does even offhand mean? Well, those are also accessories, but something in a hand. And in this case, Azuki did 53 of those. And the hand might be holding a katana, a banner, a lantern, a bat, bean juice, who knows what that is, you'd have to look it up, etc., etc. So if you yourself went to Azuki's collection on OpenSea and you clicked and you scroll down the page, just on the main page, you will see all of the properties listed, and then you can click into each property and it shows you all the traits and tells you how many traits, and then literally you can click into that and see what does that even look like. This is how you learn for yourself what you want to know. So are there any questions about that? If there are, please put them in the comments below or in the chat if you're here right now. And we're going to keep going. Traits literally can be broken down into 4 groups. And I just told you that there's a ton of different traits that you can do under 7 different properties. So what in the world am I talking about? Well, let's see. Categories. You can break your traits down into different categories. And what I mean by that are the type of trait that you're talking about. So in Azuki, they did humans, they did blue, which means the color of the body was blue or red, and then they did spirits, and spirit looks like that. And that is a category within the traits. And you can think of lots of different categories or attitudes. Attitudes are really fun because, for example, if you're talking about a mouth, an attitude could be surprised, a surprised mouth. That's really kind of funny, isn't it? So you don't have to just think of your traits as, oh my gosh, what am I going to make for traits? If you break them down into these different categories, it's really going to help you figure out, what should I do for all these traits if I'm going to need 150 or more, because you can certainly do more than that. I wouldn't recommend doing fewer than that, but I would say at least do 150 for a 10K project. This will help you figure out, how do I come up with all those traits? Well, think of them in categories. Think of them in terms of, maybe it's an attitude, or maybe it's a characteristic. What is a characteristic? Well, it's somebody either blowing a bubble with bubble gum, or maybe it's someone blowing an uncommon trait like a sleep bubble. And this is a really fun thing that Azuki did. It's a sleep bubble. I never even heard of a sleep bubble. So that's kind of a fun thing. And they also did surprised and things like that. So think of different characteristics that you can come up with that are different and fun for your traits. And finally, attributes. What do I mean by an attribute? Well, an attribute is some sort of thing, like a guitar. A guitar is an attribute. And what an attribute does is it allows you to think of a character in a certain way. And what I mean by that is, if I am someone who uses a cell phone all the time, so she would be like cell phone girl, right? So always in her hand, she's going to have her cell phone. This is the attribute. The cell phone is the attribute. And it could also be something that you have in your hands, like maybe always there's going to be sunglasses. That would be the attribute. The attribute would be sunglasses. Or if it's a musical instrument or something like that, those are what attributes are. And you can also break it down into attributes. Traits are what make your NFTs exciting. That's what's going to create hype. So you want to be sure that you are keeping your collection as interesting, exciting, and varied as possible in order to get hype, in order to get people talking, in order to get people interested in your collection. So are there any questions about any of that?
No.
Okay, I'm going to keep going then.
Keep going then.
NFT Traits. Here are themes and ideas for you to think about what can you do for traits, because you don't want to do what everybody else is doing. Themes can revolve around people, animals, objects, places, or things. And if you think in terms of any one of those and then start combining them, this is how you're really going to start coming up with something truly unique. Traits can be combined to create something really, really special. So for example, if a theme idea is people, maybe it's ninjas, maybe it's pirates or cowboys or astronauts or knights or punk. But what if it is a ninja pirate? Or what if it is an astronaut cowboy or a punk knight? These are the kinds of ways that you can start creating something that's really unique to you and very different and special. If it's animals, we have seen so many apes, but what if they're ape cats or dog cats or bear owls or horses and apes? If you start combining these things together, or maybe it's an owl knight, you want to start to think of ideas that somebody hasn't shown before, someone hasn't done before. What about locations? Well, what if everything is in a metaverse and that is what your collection's all about? Maybe it's a game and you have different places in your metaverse. Then maybe you have an island, or you have a club like Bored Ape Yacht Club really has a club. What if it's all outer space or a specific country? It might be everything is happening in Europe, maybe in Italy. So maybe the whole entire collection is all about Italy or a video game or a metaverse. This is where the theme idea is a location. Another one is vehicles, and there's so many different kinds of vehicles. There's cars and trains and planes and trucks and motorcycles and bikes. It could go on and on. If you start to think about vehicles, boats, I didn't even put boats in there, but so many different kinds of vehicles. And again, if you were to combine them into, for example, a train that flies and is located in outer space, now you've got something that is really, really different that nobody else is doing. You want to keep all of your options and theme ideas open. Open your mind to the possibilities of what you can do. For example, sports, football, baseball, soccer, tennis, pickleball, and hockey. What if you created a lion that played tennis? These are the ways that you can start to combine all of these different theme ideas together to make something even more different and exciting for your collectors and for your collection. Objects. Here is another way that you can create a unique head. There's a whole collection called sneaker heads, which is so crazy, right? So you can have all kinds of different shoes as a head. What if it's all stilettos, or what if it's all boots or something like that? So shoes, sneakers, hoodies, hats, sports balls, even food has become an object that a collection has gone around like cookies. And don't limit yourself. Your collection can be about anything. It could be about trees. Start to think of ideas, how you can combine something, maybe a tree and a person. And now you've got all of these beautiful trees that are people. Something super, super different can become a really special, uncommon collection with wonderful traits. The other thing you can do is look at other collections. What are they doing? Maybe you can get ideas from them. Look at television shows or movies. Think about film characters that you really love, or a collection of characters in a film that you really love. Maybe that cast will give you an idea for what your collection could be about, or even party themes. If you go to a party store or look online at like Party City, they have so many different themes that you could think of using for your own collection, for your own characters, and for your own traits. Superheroes, think about Marvel and how many amazing characters are just in the Marvel universe. There are so many. What makes them special? What makes them unique? How could you maybe apply that to your collection, even if it's just the way that they have their interesting universe? Maybe you can create a new and unique universe for your own collection with really, really special traits. And these are themes and ideas for you. Are there questions about these themes and ideas? I'm just going to pop over to us for a second. So I've just covered a ton of different ways that you can create wonderful collections, unique traits, and cool properties, really. Even, you can use the seven common properties, the basic properties, and then make wonderful, interesting, unique traits for each one of them that nobody else is doing.
Well, you gave me an idea.
Oh,
A fruit wearing different kinds of underpants.
I'm going to put on you.
It's a little play on, Fruit of the Loom. But still. Still. See, I got excited. Still.
Master me.
I can see it. How many different traits, how many different properties?
That's really cute. And it's sort of like SpongeBob SquarePants.
Yeah, it's sort of like that.
Right? So, to come up with an idea like SpongeBob SquarePants, where you have all these hilarious characters and they live in their own universe below the sea. And that's a really, really, really fun collection of unique characters in a unique place in their own
Yeah, it would be
universe.
Banana Man underpants.
Right. So I think that's a really great collection for you to even think about of SpongeBob SquarePants. I didn't even think about that, but wow.
Because how many different
characters, how many different places, how many different backgrounds they have, wow, so many. So when you think about television shows and how can they inform your collection, even if you were just to think of like an old TV show like The Munsters or The Addams Family, where here were these crazy characters, right? From horror characters, but hilarious.
Yeah, but
hilarious characters.
I think bananas and underpants are the right thing.
I think that is pretty cute too. Okay, we're going to keep going. So, next. Why do traits matter? Well, traits matter because they are what help you to create a successful project today. And when you look at something like Goblin Town, which is an incredibly successful collection, only came out May 22nd. It has only been a few weeks that this collection is out, and it went from basically nothing, right, to now it's so many ETH to buy just one. We're talking thousands of dollars to buy simply one little goblin. And every single one of these really look like something super special. You want unique traits within your properties because that's what creates buzz. And you want to create buzz around your collection. It's not easy to do that. So the more interesting it is, the possibilities of selling increase so much more. That is what you want to do. You want to sell. And who would think of doing sneaker heads and then this wacky like Renaissance knight's body with a painting behind it that looks like it's from, I don't know, like Botticelli or something. So here we go. All of the different things that they've combined to create this really unique looking NFT. And this is the kind of thing that you want to think about. The more interesting and unique traits you can come up with, the more valuable those NFTs will become. And here we go again with the bubble gum. But look at this ear. Here we have the cowboy hat. Here we have sunglasses. Here we have a necklace. Here we have a hoodie. All of these things are pretty common now, but when they're combined in one character, it really does look unique, doesn't it? It really does look special. And this is what you want to do. You want to create something that looks really, really special. And this is Kevin I was talking about with the Goblin Town one. Collectors love rare traits. That is what they like. They like rare traits. And I just have to say, I'm just going to come to us for one quick second. Sorry. I just have to say, I was recently reading about rarities and rare NFTs. And here is a very strange but interesting thing that I just read. Because Bored Ape Yacht Club is so huge and almost is part of the lexicon now of across the world what NFTs are, everybody thinks of an ape and a bored ape. It's interesting that the rarest ones have become so common. And the reason for that is because the rarest ones, I know that sounds really strange, but the rarest ones are the ones that everybody has shown everywhere. Everyone's put into their newsletters, everyone's put into their news articles, and also people have started putting on t-shirts and mugs and hats and things like that. And all of a sudden, the rare ones are becoming common. And it's weird to
No,
think.
because always the best example is always the most common example.
It
Most
becomes
people-
common.
yeah.
And it's a funny way to think about that. I didn't think about rarity becoming common, but when you think about the Mona Lisa being one painting, and yet she's everywhere.
Right.
She's become so common as a painting to think of. It's really strange, but anyway, I just wanted to pop over and say that. Sorry. So, okay. Traits become a talking point, not just for collectors, but for everyone looking to collect NFTs. So are there any questions about that? Please put them in the comments below this video or put them in the chat right this moment, because I am going to go on to the 6 top collection properties and traits and what those quantities are. And if you went and looked at Goblin Town, it is a collection of almost 10,000 NFTs. There are 11 main properties, not 7. There are 11. Remember, that's an average 7. 11 properties, 205 traits, 13 of those being rare. And the next one is Bored Ape Yacht Club. That is a 10K collection. It has 8 properties and 175 traits. But if you look at Bored Ape Yacht Club Mutant Apes, that will have changed. And you might want to go to Rarity Sniper and take a look at that. Azuki is another 10K collection. It's got 13 properties and 469,
Whoa.
right, 469 traits. This is why you do not want to limit yourself. If you come up with a fantastic theme and you start blending things together and you go crazy and you come up with fabulous traits, go for it. Don't think, oh my gosh, that's too many. Go for it. It might just be exactly what you need. Moonbirds, a brand new collection, only came out this year, went viral. 10,000 NFTs with only 9 properties, 126 traits, that's not very many, and 8 rare. And if you look at them, you know, they're just a pixelated NFT. Murakami Flowers. This is by a very famous artist named Murakami. He created this collection of flowers, 8,400 NFTs, did 11 different properties, but 454 traits within that collection. That is a lot. So do not limit yourself. Doodles, another very, very simple sort of family-friendly collection, 10,000 NFTs, right on target with 7 properties, 272 traits, and 20 assorted rare NFTs for collectibles, highly collected right now by everybody. And that is why it is super important for you to think about, what do you want to do with your collection? What do you want to do with properties? Do you want to do 7 properties? Do you want to do 15 properties? It's up to you. How many traits should you have? What is the sweet spot? The sweet spot is 150, but how many can you have? There are collections with 200. There are collections with 450. You don't need to limit yourself. You can really go crazy with that. Just keep in mind, the more traits you have, the more work you as a creator have for yourself when you are in the software program that you're using, figuring out what goes with what should go where. You have to do all of that ahead of time. Therefore, when your collection posts, all of the traits that you've created will perfectly seamlessly go with whatever properties you want them to connect to. And that is the thing about traits that you have to keep in mind. The more traits you have, the more work you're making for yourself as the creator, because you are the one that's going to be putting all of that together in the software program before you upload it to a marketplace. Okay, are there questions about that? I am going to go to us for a quick second and just say, you know, I covered a ton today. We've covered what are common and uncommon properties, what are common and uncommon traits, how many traits is the sweet spot for your collection, how many properties are the sweet spot. We just went over all of those. Themes, theme ideas, how do you get them, where should you look to get them for both traits and for properties, and then what are the top collections doing? I've just shown you all of that. So are there any questions about that? It's a lot. I know I just covered a ton, but if you're not sure about something, rewind and go and look again, or post it in the comments below this video. Any questions?
No.
Okay.
Yeah,
So
we should just get you going to make your
do it.
generative
Do it.
collection.
Make
Today.
your collection.
It should be done.
We are working on ours. We are working on Sal's first, actually. I have laid Nifty Girls for a moment. I'm still working on it, but I'm not working on it as robustly as I had been, because both Sal and I are now working on his funny, really original NFT collection that is just designed to make you smile and laugh, because we believe laughter is healing, and basically it's just to make people happy. So we're working on that right now. We're not even going to tell you what the collection is called just yet, so stay posted for that. And next time I'm going to talk about NFT roadmaps and how you even create a roadmap for your collection, and even should you create a roadmap for your collection. And then I have created a course for beginners, NFTs for beginners. It's a boot camp. It's only 5 days. You can do the entire thing in 5 days. If you really don't understand what NFTs are all about, by the time you're finished, you will not only know what is an NFT, what is cryptocurrency, what is the blockchain, but you will have set up your wallet. You will have set up an account on OpenSea. You will have created your own NFT, and you will have put up the beginning of a collection for yourself on OpenSea. And if that is of interest to you, go to zazoome, zazoome, that is the name of the website. Look at everything that you will learn in NFTs for beginners and sign up and take the course. It is a very, very, very fun course filled with wonderful things that you can complete in 5 days. Okay. Finally, subscribe. If you haven't subscribed, please subscribe. We are trying to hit 1,000 subscribers, and we would love for you to subscribe. So please subscribe to our channel and support us. Leave your comments below.